Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gents. My name is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and I'm the Passion for Acting podcast host for this episode. And today's guest is none other than Rudi Yap. Kamusta pare?
Hello, it's nice to be here. How
Hey,
are you,
hey,
pare?
good. Now that I'm recording with you, this is pretty much the highlight of my day. I'm not saying that lightly, yeah?
Okay.
Uh, but before we go further ahead, I'd like to mention that this podcast episode sponsor is actually Sydney Actors Association. So if you want to go to the description box below and check out their Instagram profile, if you're an actor looking to sharpen their craft, this should be the right place for you. I mean, in my opinion, it could be, but if it is, just tell them that Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and even Rudi sent you to our good friend Sam Haft, who's actually the head coach there as for actors. Yeah. But anyway, without further ado, Pare, please give us a introduction about yourself.
Well, I've been a part-time actor for, more than 20 years now, and I've had a few TV commercials over the years, and it's been great.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because thanks to you, I've got the same agent as you, Mr. John Clare Lee. Hey,
Yes,
Mr. Lee.
yes.
He's the one who actually introduced me to my current agent. He's got the same agent. I'm grateful for that. And Rudy's one
Yeah.
of those guys who was kind-hearted and one hell of a Zumba instructor as well. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I shake my hips like Shakira.
maybe it's just the Spanish that's in us Pinoys, right? You know, just like
Yes, yeah, the Latinos in us. Yeah.
exactly. You know, so that's probably the reason. That's probably the reason why we got the groove. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So, what inspired you to become an actor, buddy?
Well, I've always um uh been attracted to performing on stage even when I was a kid. Even when I was in grade school. I love dancing and singing in front of people, and it just grew from there. It's I think it's um the love of acting for me starts from childhood, and that's where it came from.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That means that sounds like you're a triple threat. You're a good dancer, you're a good actor, and you're a good singer. Am I correct?
Well, I wish I could say I'm a good singer. I hope I am a good singer, but
Well, that's in the Pinoy blood and genes as well, because the owner of this office here, because his name is Nick, and he allows me to use this office for podcast projects like this, or even some of my passion projects.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway, he spent 4 years in Manila as the Johnny Walker CEO for Manila branch, or even
yeah,
Philippines branch. Yeah, and
yeah.
and the funny thing is, he thinks, according to him and a lot of people, that Pinoys are actually the best singers in the world. I'm thinking maybe it's one of the best, but for me, it's African
Well,
Americans. But to him,
I think for me, I think Filipinos. He's on the point there, but Filipinos are the most song-oriented people in the world. That's I think that's a fact for me. That's why we have very talented musical performers in Broadway, like Lea Salonga. And That's because like we Filipinos, we love singing, even though we may not be good at it, but we know the songs. We just love doing it.
well, yeah, that's a good point because, the 4 times I've actually visited Manila since 1992, right? Almost every single barangay, there's at least one house that has a karaoke person singing. You know what I
You,
mean?
you, you can't be Filipino if you don't know karaoke.
Yeah, and apparently we created that as well as Filipinos, right? So, yeah, so which is kind of thing. But my point being is that almost everywhere, like whether it's in the shopping center or even just the local barangays there, whether it's in Manila or I'm pretty sure in Iloilo where you're from, you'd get
Yeah,
like at least a few houses in the one local barangay. That's the karaoke house where at least one person singing the whole day or people take turns to
yeah,
sing. Yeah.
exactly. So there's either a karaoke or a basketball court.
Yeah, the basketball court could be just like so small,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah, yeah,
us Filipinos are small anyway, but so that's the reason why we don't need a big space for basketball. So yeah,
yeah,
but a basketball court and good singers and what else is there? Karaoke house or a few houses that's karaoke.
yeah.
And yeah, but the thing is, I've met people in the past who even like one of my clients. He said was born and bred in Hong Kong, and he said like most of the churches, no matter what denomination, whether it's born again, Pentecostal, or even Catholic ones, people who are leading the praise and worship services are Filipinos, even though
Oh yes.
it's in Hong
Yeah.
Kong. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been to Hong Kong, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true that there's a lot of Pinoys there as well, right?
Oh yes. Filipinos are everywhere, and even in the Middle East, in Dubai, for example. All if you go to a bar in Dubai, the bands there are Filipinos. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like when I was in LA, right? Like a few bars there in Burbank or even in Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, guess who was singing? Pinoy American.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of
And I'm just
course.
like, wow. I mean, just like Chinese people are everywhere, Pinoys are everywhere nowadays. You know, so yeah, but we can't escape it. But yeah, but cool, cool. So so no other. Was there any celebrity or like a legendary actor that actually inspired you to become an actor at all? Someone you look up
Well,
to?
no, not really. For me, um, I've always loved movies as well. And I was a big movie buff and a TV addict. You know, I was watching TV all the time. I was watching a lot of movies all the time. So that also played a big influence of me being an actor because um, it was uh, it was an adventure for me to um to play somebody that's totally different from me. Like I see it as an adventure. I see it as a challenge.
I see, I see. Just like the childlike faith that the Bible actually describes, childlike faith in we really think that we are the character that we're playing when little kids, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because like I remember this like so many times. Like even as a little kid, I used to think I was Batman. I say, hey, I'm Batman, and then my next door
Yeah.
neighbor in
Yeah.
Paramount, I was like thinking, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am, but because it's just a childlike faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We imitate people we see on TV.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And what's funny is because, like, I remember, like, see, remember the acting classes that I go through in Sydney Actors Association. The funny thing about that is that one of the actresses actually brought a kid one time, like she was only a toddler back then. This was a few years ago, right? And the funny thing about that is that during one of the in between takes, one of the actors were doing their scenes. The acting coach Sam Haft actually asked everybody, "So who do you think is the best actor here?" And everybody was foolish, no, not foolish, but everybody just assumed it was him, like since he's the acting coach. And he goes, "No, it's not me." And he pointed to the little girl who's like 3 years old because she
Hmm.
was she was playing with the dolls and she was actually pretending like she was like literally playing the dolls right there, talking to herself,
Yeah.
and just yeah, and then that's the childlike faith that actors actually go through. We need to have to pretend that we really are on the spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
in the moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's true. Like, they're the best actors are the subtle actors, the one that can convey these little nuances, and those it may they may look their performance may look quite simple on the outside, but on closer look, like there's deeper there's a lot of deeper levels of performance in there, like so I love actors like Kate Blanchett uh or Leonardo DiCaprio that could, even just with one word that would say, you could I could feel that there's like maybe 10 emotions in there, like that yeah that yeah, that's very subtle.
Yeah, that subtlety I think comes from the inside out, like just being in the moment, right? So
Yes.
it's only us actors who are trained actors like you and I who, or everybody else listening to this podcast, who are just like we can only understand what it feels like to be in the spot, be in the moment, be adapt to that actual scene. And for
Hmm.
example, if there's even though there's not any explosion in the background, pretend there's an explosion, you react. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, acting is reacting, that's what it is.
Amen. Because like
Yes.
that's what Sam Haft actually always tells us. Like if you're a good actor, if you're acting, you're not a good actor. But if you're
Yeah.
reacting, you're a
Yes,
good actor.
exactly. Yeah, acting is reacting. I always tell myself that.
Oh, amen to that. Yeah. So just reacting, like do you guys have that slang in Ilonga or Bisaya as well, which is called OA, like which is overacting?
As overacting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my mum used to say all that stuff to my brothers and I every time we were just like pretending like, oh, I don't want to clean up, like, ay, ang OA mo talaga, which means
Mm.
you're overacting. So, but anyway, so yeah, it is what it is. But thanks for that. Yeah. So the next question here, Pare, is please tell us how your role winning an award as best supporting actor in Next Door to the Valinskis is a huge highlight in your acting career.
Well, that was a big surprise for me. I did this little Australian independent film called Next Door to the Valinskis. We filmed it in 2009, and it didn't get released till a year later in 2010. And the producers, after it was released, they entered it in just about every film festival in the world. Okay, um, and and one day I got this email from something I've never even heard of called Indie Fest USA. It's like a sort of like an independent film a festival, you may call. Uh, and then saying that I was chosen as the recipient of their supporting actor award of merit for Next Door to the Valinskis. And I said, "Oh my god!" Like I said, "What?" And then uh, my first question was, um, who were the other nominees? Like, and I wanted to know the other. Maybe I beat Brad Pitt or I beat George Clooney in the nomination. You know. Yeah, but
Yep, keep talking. Keep talking.
so yeah, that was a big surprise. So, um, my role in that movie was that of a Korean businessman. So he was supposed to play Korean. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to play this Korean character, and I remember during the auditions, I told John Clare, the role is for a Korean person. I said, I don't know how to speak Korean. Like, I'm a Filipino. I don't even look Korean. And then, but like, what they say, but like he said, well, to a lot of Western eyes, Asians look the same. So so, 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 so I said, okay. So John Clare said, okay, just give it a go. Just give it a go. I said, okay. So, I went to the audition, did the reading, like, and then just like, just applied whatever I learned in acting training, uh, be honest with what you're saying on in the lines. And, uh, and then a day later, they told me that I got the role, and that even though I'm not Korean, they cast me as a Korean
Wow,
person.
wow,
So
wow.
so I had to learn how to speak with a Korean accent. Like, what, at that time there was no Netflix that I could watch a Korean movie, so I had to watch these Korean films on YouTube, like, and then and try to imitate the Korean accent with, like, I try to imitate like a Korean, like, yes, or speak like a Korean people in the movie. So, so the whole movie I was speaking like what as a Korean man. And
Yeah, keep talking.
so I think that may have been a factor. I don't know, in their choosing me to be a supporting actor. I don't know, or maybe it was just my um, honest performance in the role. Like, I tried to give it my best in the role, even though um, it was a supporting role. But um, uh, like with the way I approach a role, it's always, for me, you have to have an objective with every line that you say, and that's what I did. Like, for every line that I said, I had an objective. Either it was to encourage, whether it was to intimidate. It had to be, there has to be an action between, behind the lines that I say, and that's what I did. And so, maybe the the selectors, the selection panel in that Indie Fest saw that, and they gave me the award. And then, a few months later, I got the actual award. It looked like an Oscar. So, like, it was like a heavy, like a heavy statue, like an Oscar. So that's the closest thing I've got to an Oscar.
Oh wow. Because I think I remember seeing that post back in Facebook back in the day, back in 2010, and I'm just like, that's my man right there. And it looked heavy because, like, I'm not saying that you weren't strong enough to actually hold it, but it looked like you had a firm grip on that, because
Yeah,
how heavy it was. So yeah, how did they send that to you via mail, or
yeah,
did you?
yeah, yeah. They sent it to me by mail, by mail.
Oh, all the way from the USA. Ooh, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh. Oh my
yeah.
gosh!
I still
See,
have it in my other room.
Indie Fest USA. Look at that. See,
Yeah,
no, I mean, to be honest with you, because like I mean, you're the first actor here who's actually won an award in that context. I mean, in this podcast anyway. So yeah, like 21 episodes later, we finally got somebody who won an award. Could be wrong. Maybe just like previous guests maybe have won an award something, but this is the first time you've mentioned it or somebody's mentioned it. Yeah, but good on you, buddy. So that's awesome.
thank
So
you.
yeah, because before we go into the next question, I mean, that's always the one thing that stood out in mind anyway. Because even though before you sent me your CV the other day, I wanted to ask you about that because that's always been a highlight. Every time you always like you keep reposting it because you're proud of that accomplishment, and that accomplishment is actually something that will be with you until the end of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
but well done.
Oh,
So
thank
yeah.
you, thank you.
Oh, well, anyway, so moving on from the Belinskis, we're going to go to the next question. So, which one is your favorite gig out of your most recent TV commercials? I'm talking about the Pepsi, Tab,
Yeah,
McDonald's, Westpac, Aerogard, Foxtel, and Binge, and why?
I think for me, I think my favorite one would have to be the Aerogard TV commercial because in that commercial it was just me the whole time. The whole scene was just me, nobody else. And so I had a really good exposure, and it was played like so many times on TV, in
YouTube.
shopping mall billboards, and on online. It was played so many times, and people even recognized me, even people I did not know. Like, they it's somebody. I was in the checkout for Woolworths one time, and somebody told me, "Are you the guy from the Everguard ad?" I said, "Yeah." So yeah, so that would have been my favorite commercial to date because yeah, it gave me so much good exposure.
Oh, that's good. That's the one, right? Like you're getting bitten by, right? You're like, oh, like that. Is that the one?
Yeah, yeah. So I was the one being attacked by mosquitoes. Like, and I was this bird watcher in the middle of the forest, supposedly in the Amazon, but we filmed it in the northern beaches, like, and then I suddenly got attacked by mosquitoes, like, so I get this twitching and this, yeah, and the slapping, and
Oh my gosh, yeah,
yeah,
because that would have been fun because it's like not only fun because it's also because it was comedy, right? You're just like you're not being so
yeah,
you're not being like, oh, like you're getting annoyed. You're like just being comical about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's
yeah,
yeah because that's in our DNA as Filipino actors or just Filipinos in general because we like that cheesy humor. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's because maybe you brought that into that project. Am I correct?
yeah. When during the audition, when because it was a self tape, and then when I filmed my self tape, I thought of not just slapping myself, but adding a little bit of choreography, being a dancer. Like, I slap with a bit of dance, like, I slap, and then and I think that's what got the attention of the director of the commercial. And then because he liked the way I moved with the slap, with a bit of dance move to it. And during the callbacks, I did the same thing, and they just laughed, and then laughed because it was like Michael Jackson being attacked by mosquitoes, like, So yeah,
So a bit of Zumba as well. You're like, oh,
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
man, that would have been fun. How come? Oh man, I would have loved to audition for that because it's something fun. Because it's nothing serious, nothing. Because remember, with us actors, for me anyway, especially, it's easier to actually audition for those comical stuff because like all you have to do is just be in the mood, just watch something funny, and then you'll be in the mood to actually perform in that
yeah.
context. Am I correct?
yeah. So yeah. So and you gotta for me, I always bring a bit of myself into a role, into any audition that I go to, like whether it could be a dancer or a singer or whatever. Like there's always a bit in me in that role, like So like with that Aerogard ad, like there's that as a dancer, but still with um in the context of the role, it was still like being attacked by mosquitoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they need some Erigard in Manila because, like, I remember, like, because there's so many families that they have the mosquito nets. Do you know
Oh
that?
yeah. Yes,
Yeah, they
yeah.
have that. They have that in Iloilo as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that yeah. Because instead of having that, maybe just spray yourselves with Aerogard. Then you don't need that mosquito net anymore. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
the next time you go to Philippines, you just hey, look, that's me. Look, I just buy Aerogard, and then you don't need the mosquito net. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's better than having a mosquito net because if I go to the toilet, it's still going to leave me alone. But if I stay in the mosquito net, they get out of the mosquito nets are not going to get
Oh
out. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, keep
Yeah,
talking.
I think that ad even went international, I think. Because I was told I got these notices that it's going to go international. So probably.
Oh, right. Like
Yeah.
what John Clare said. I mean, in camera to us, to Westerners, most us Asians look the same anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so yeah. So and besides, Aerogard is an international product. So who knows? That ad could still be playing somewhere in Italy or in yeah
Yeah,
in
because
the U.S.
I first saw that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, right? That Aerogard commercial. Am I correct? Like that
Yeah,
was like
2022. So at the end of yeah
2022.
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I love
So
that. Yeah, it was funny because as soon as I saw that on YouTube, I was just like, no, that's my man right there.
y-
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah.
cool. And so was it? It wasn't in the studio that you guys filmed. It was actually in a real like forest.
Yeah, it was in a real. It was in a real. It was in this reserve in the northern beaches. That it looked like it looked like in a jungle. So
Right.
yeah,
That looked like Amazon enough.
yeah.
Yeah. Or Safari enough, because yeah. So what was the call time for there? That would have been around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. or something.
No, I started around 11 and we finished about 5 p.m.
Oh,
And yeah, so like I was slapping myself for 4 hours. Just like oh my god.
and you got all these bruises. It's just like, oh, who else helping you on set? It's like, oh.
At one point I actually got a bit dizzy because like I was like turning around like slapping like
Oh, but that dizziness could be actually good for that actual later takes, right? You're like, like you know what I mean? Just you're a bit
yeah.
confused and whatnot. Yeah, look, it sounds like you had fun, buddy, because when it comes to gigs like that, it's just so light, and in between takes, or maybe in during the takes, the crew or the fellow actors could just be just laughing their heads off, like they try not to
Yeah.
laugh. You know what I mean? So yeah, so and the crew would have been nice to work with, if I correct.
Yeah, they were really nice people.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, I love that about acting is
Yeah.
that when you get to work with crew who are really cool and down to earth and very accommodating, it
Yeah.
just makes the job easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you're working at all. So that's what I feel like anyway. So yeah, but
Yeah, and this one other commercial that I did, I think, which also stands out from all the other work that I've done is, um, it was the McDonald's TV commercial which I did last year, and because it was the very first commercial that I had a speaking role in it. Like I've done TV commercials over 20 years, and that was the very first commercial that I had a speech. I had to, my voice was in the commercial. Like yeah. So that
wow.
that that was a standout as well. Yeah.
Well,
That
that's
that
good
that's
because that's very rare because usually voiceovers, right?
yeah, and usually it's just like non-speaking roles. Like the Everguard, there was no dialogue. It was just all action. Yeah, and I've always wanted to do a commercial where I speak. I've auditioned for so many of that commercial, but I never got it
Mhm.
until that McDonald's ad.
Yeah, you know what? That's awesome then because it's like, well, you appreciate that because it's not as common yet. You know what I mean? It's the
Hmm.
first time. When you make something the first time, it stands out to you, because
Yeah.
yeah, because I've auditioned for those commercials as well where you have some dialogue or just like, you're presenting. I haven't had one
Mm,
yet, but it might sound more common that. But the thing is,
yeah.
the good thing about that is that when that happens, especially in that McDonald's thing for you, you appreciate that. You know what I mean? And that's the one where you were a chef, right? And
I was a chef, and then during the audition, I had to think of ways to stand out because there were so many people auditioning for that one role of a chef, and I said I and um uh the line was my this is my tribute to the McCrispy. Like that's the line, my tribute to the McCrispy, and you open the cloche and you present the burger. And so I said, there has to be something that's going to make me stand out with this one line. And I thought, okay, I'm going to play a French guy. I'm going to put a French accent into this line, and then say it like, as if I am intimidating the people, like, I said I'm intimidating the one I'm presenting this burger to. So with a French accent, I said, my tribute to the McCrispy. And then this and then the director just laughed out loud and he said, "Oh my god, this Asian guy, like, speak has got a French accent. He's the best thing I've ever seen the whole day." So yeah,
oh,
so
that,
so,
yeah.
so I got the role.
Oh, there we go. So there we go. So that's the thing. Like, so was it the director got to choose, because normally it's the client who gets to choose the actor who plays for the role. So the director got to choose this time. Am I correct?
No, yep. I'm not sure whether, because he told me that he was the I was the best thing he's seen all day. So maybe he played a big influence in finally selecting who was gonna play the role.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I remember, like, when I auditioned for that Samsung commercial, like, the director favored me as well one time. And then, because look, I mean, I'm gonna tell the Samsung people that I don't want to, I only want you to play the role, because trust me, I'm gonna get you the role. I'm like, yeah, look,
Yeah,
don't pressure yourself. And then the next day, Mr. John Clare Lee actually messaged me and said, hey, congratulations, you got the role for the Samsung thing.
yeah.
But long story short, I mean, the sad part about this is it got cancelled last minute, which is a
Oh
big,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But it was a big kick in the balls back then. But this
yeah,
is life. You know what I mean? You have to move on.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It was depressing back then, because nowadays, if that happens, it's not going to hurt as much anymore. But
Mm,
what? That's the first time it happened. You're like, ouch. I'd rather not get the
yeah,
role than get it cancelled last minute. But it is what it is. So that just made me
yeah,
stronger, because Mr. John Clare Lee was just telling me up front,
yeah,
you can't take these things seriously, or you can't take these things personally, because it's beyond your control. And he was right.
yeah,
And then
yeah. And there are those roles sometimes when they say, you're one of two people that we are deciding on. And then I've had this a few times already, and I really hate that when they say, oh, you're one of two people, and then you don't get chosen. Like, and I'd rather not know that, rather than, it's actually more painful for me to be told that, oh, I'm one of two people, but I don't get chosen. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd rather not know about it. Like, whether you choose me or not, let me know at the end. Let me know your final decision.
That's right, because there's no point
Yeah,
to saying, "Oh, congratulations, you made to the top two," and then you don't
yeah,
make the
like,
top
yeah.
one.
Some studios do that. I don't know why.
I know. You know what? I know what you mean. But at the same time, at least they favor you in some way, because remember, these casting directors and Mr. John Clare Lee, they are on our side, and that's why they invite us to
Mm,
come to audition. They're someone like Mr. Lee himself. He submits us
mm,
so that we can actually possibly get the role, and then
yeah.
the casting director gives you an invite and gives me an invite. That means that
Mm,
they're on our side. Oh, okay, Miguel could be right for this role. Rudy could be right for
mm,
this role. So, but the only thing we can do is just focus on what we control, which is our
yeah,
performance, and that's it.
absolutely.
But it's all
Yeah.
good. But anyway, let's go to the next question, party. So, great answer for that, because I love that error guard thing. But okay, so the next question is, how has our agent John Clare Lee been a huge influence in your acting career?
Well, I have only ever had one agent this whole time, and that's John Clare Lee. Since I started back in 2003, since I started doing TV commercials in 2003, I've never even thought of uh, changing an agent, because for me, John Clare is a big help uh, for me as an actor. And I got a chance to be mentored by him when I did his acting classes a long time ago. Um, and to this day, like, he's always been uh, the one that is really responsible for all the work that I got on in film, uh, on TV commercials, as an actor. So he's a big influence, probably the biggest influence as far as my acting is concerned. Like, he's the biggest influence for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yep. Keep
it's
going.
because of him that I get this work, that I get to work as an actor. It's because of him.
Yeah, yeah. I can respect that because I can say very similar things, pretty much almost exactly the same thing. Because remember, you're the one who actually introduced me to him, and you're the one who
Yeah.
referred me to him. And when I finally got to meet him the first time, right? Like, I was nervous because I've heard good things about him, but because I don't know if he gave you the same type of audition. So he told me to prepare for like two different monologues, and he's going to surprise me with a surprise monologue that I have to do a cold read, right?
Mm.
I didn't do so well in those ones there, and then he was telling me, look, relax, remember, I'm on your side, yeah. No, I'm just testing you, and I'm just like, okay, because I was a lot younger and a lot greener back then. This was back in 2012 when I first met him, and then I wasn't as confident as I am now, and and just obviously not as mature as I am now. But the good thing about that is that he overlooked what he saw the other day. What he saw, he told me, because when he sent me an email, because actually at the end of that meeting when I first met him, he goes to me, look, let me have a good think about it for the next 2 or 3 days, and I will email you before the end of the week. And okay, cool. And that didn't sound good to me. I was just, I'm going to get rejected, just like previous agents did. And then a few days later, he just sent me an email. Hey, welcome aboard. Here's the contract. Can you please print it and sign it and return it to me? And I was like, whoa, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And then when I asked him, it's like, why did you choose me? Because I didn't do so well in those auditions. Because no, I saw beyond that. I saw passion. So, and
Mm.
I'm very supportive of Asian actors, and I want to mold you. I'm going to teach you how to be a good actor. I'm going to teach you how to present yourself. Welcome aboard. He shook my hand. I was like, wow, this is probably one of the very best times feeling accepted as an actor. Just
Yeah,
that moment.
yeah.
Did you have that kind of experience with him as well?
Yeah, he's a really good man, and he's always very supportive and very understanding, of you as a person, as a human being, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, because like what you said, like you and I said, he's very supportive of very like Asian actors like us, and the good thing
Mm.
about that is that he sees potential in us, and I've referred a few people to him in the past, and he didn't want them because he didn't see like he was going to work with them. But the good thing is that he's able to work with us, and
Hmm.
because it's not just about sending us to auditions, but he's taught me how to become a better person, like just a better person in general, or just like how to be professional on auditions, on set, and how
Mm.
to how to do this with my show reel, how to do monologues, how to do certain scenes, and how to react. Because he's almost like not only like an agent, but he's kind of somewhat like a father figure or uncle figure at least to me.
Hmm.
I mean, would you
Yes,
say the same thing with yourself as well?
yes, of course, because I took um his acting classes for almost a year, many years ago, and so I actually began as one of his students. I didn't actually apply to be an actor to be represented by him. um
Mm.
I just applied as a student in one of his classes, and 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 through as as I did that course, he got to know me, and he got to know my capabilities, and then at the end of the course, and he told me, okay, would you like to sign up for Sydney Talent Company? And yeah, and I said, okay, yeah, definitely. And then from then on, like, within like less than a month, I had my first job, my first TV commercial as um playing this scientist in an Oral-B TV commercial. Yeah,
Wow.
within a month, I had no idea, like, that it would be that quick, and yeah, and that TV commercial really went around the world because I was getting these checks from Oral-B USA, Oral-B Italy, Oral-B UK, like for 3 years. It was like winning the lottery. Oh my
Royalties.
God, yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Because I used to see that, little poster, Oral B poster in his office. But when his office used to be in Ultimo, yeah.
yeah,
And then I drop by it, and one of the first people I see is you, like an Oral B, and you got a big smile, and then I think you had a toothbrush in your hand or something. Like, no, you didn't. Just like you're endorsing Oral B. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So yeah, yeah. And I know which gig you're talking about there. Yeah. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I know what you mean. I could relate to that thing. As soon as I signed up with him as well, within less than 2 months, I had the AGL TVC ad. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
I was heavily featured in that one, which is a 175 years campaign, AGL
yeah.
175 years campaign. And in some ways, I didn't get recognized as much as you did, but I got recognized quite a
Mm,
bit more than I
yeah,
expected. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's a good feeling, because
That's
like.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and then you're like, oh man, this is the right agent for me, because, and
yeah.
even from my personal life, he's been there for me as well, because
Mm,
back in 2014, like when I went through a setback, like before I moved here to the North Shore, I told him, look, I may need to put my acting career on hold because I need to fix things up as much as I want to, blah blah blah. But he encouraged me, don't give up on this right now, because if you actually take a break, you might not want to come back, and if you doing this right now will actually help you get distracted with your personal problems. It'll help you get
mhm,
back on track with life. And guess what?
mhm.
He was right.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
right. Yeah, he was right with that. Yeah,
That's
and
good.
yeah, yeah. And I can't thank him enough. So yeah. So the funny thing is, maybe you've had this experience with him as well. But the times that he's watched me perform in theater, people think, "Hey, Mr. Sebastian, how are you?" He's like, "No, it's not my dad." So has that
Y
happened to you as well? Do people
No,
think?
no, no. Yeah.
and,
You're
and then
you're you are more fortunate than that one.
the funny thing about that is that he goes to me, "Oh look, I love my daughters, but I do wish I had a son." That's what he said to me. Yeah, and then I told him, yeah, maybe you should play along the father and son. In photos, we
Yeah,
look like father and son anyway. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So maybe I am. I don't want to find out. Never ruin the relationship between me and him if I find out the hard way. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, Pare. So look, the last question here. So what is your dream role or ideal role you'd like to play in the near or distant future?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I would love to be in a film directed by Martin Scorsese. He or Steven Spielberg. Like, these are my two most favorite filmmakers. Uh, I have a list of the the 10 best films of my life. And number one for me is E.T., the Extraterrestrial, a Steven Spielberg film back in 1982. Like, that was so influential for me when I was a kid, and to this day, like, it still resonates with me. And then later on, I discovered Martin Scorsese, The Raging Bull, Goodfellas, like these, so oh my God, it would be such a dream. Like, I mean, like, we can only dream, And then for me, like, uh, uh, I would give anything to be directed by Spielberg or Scorsese. That would be the best thing that would happen in my life.
Well, never say never about it, yeah, because remember, like,
Yeah,
these people are just as human as you and I. Just because they're famous doesn't mean they're not as human. So,
yeah,
yeah, because, like, I bet you, like, before you started acting, right, you feel like it's a bit too far fetched to be in a TV commercial or to be in a movie and all that stuff. But the thing is, it's happened for you. So
Yeah.
my point is, in that thing here, you might actually get to be in that, Steven Spielberg movie that you
Hmm.
desire, or maybe even a Martin Scorsese movie, because this is your passion. And if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, never say never, right? Because at the same
Yeah.
time, you doing your own thing and doing all these commercials, doing all that, you never know, because those guys could actually watch it. I want to work with that Asian guy, So yeah, the actual
Hmm.
movies. So yeah, you never know, brother. So in that context, maybe reach out. Actually, that's maybe a bit far fetched, but maybe find a way to reach out to them, see if they like
Yeah.
any of your work. But I'm a firm believer that if something's meant to happen, it'll happen
Yes,
as well.
but of
So
course, yeah.
yeah,
And sometimes, like you just never know. Sometimes it will just happen in the times that you least expected it. So I keep my mind open. I keep my horizons open. I put it out in the universe like that. This is what I want. This is my dream. And then if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think the main point that you and I, even you said this to me one time, that when it comes to the acting journey, you gotta not only endure it but
Hmm.
enjoy it, and endure it at the same time. Because
Yeah.
in this context, especially, because but in other contexts, enduring something and enjoying something are two different things. But this one here, you gotta endure, and you gotta enjoy the endurance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of acting,
Of
it's the
course.
grind. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the one thing that us actors, especially dedicated actors like you and I, is that we are so used to getting rejected. You know what I mean? So we know
Hmm.
it's a numbers game. Just because I'm auditioning for this ideal role, like that you want. For example, if you get if you get a Martin Scorsese film audition for either a feature role, supporting role, or maybe even lead role, you're like, oh, I want to do this. Look, God, give this to me. Um,
Hmm.
if you don't get it that time, that doesn't mean you can't get it next time. You just never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
Like
never.
what you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah. Yeah. I
because
mean, like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Things happen for a reason.
amen, amen to that. But when it comes to Spielberg, he doesn't really direct anymore, does he? He just produces now, right?
Yeah, nowadays he does, but he still directs every now and then. I think what his last film, I can't remember. I think that was it escapes my mind at the moment. Like, yeah, yeah, but I mean, if he does another project, that he would direct, oh, that would be just fantastic.
Yeah, I think he's also like produced a lot of those good ones, like the first few Transformers movies. Yeah, the first one especially, he
Mm-hmm.
produced that, and that was really good. That's the best one in the franchise, the first one. Yeah, but when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to Spielberg, there's so many movies. Actually, Jurassic Park is probably his best one. Actually, one of his best ones. I'm not big on the guy. I like the guy, but I'm not as big on him as you are. But if you could
Mm.
name a few more of his big.
I think, yeah, his last film that he directed was the remake of West Side Story, um, uh, back in 2021. And it so happened that West Side Story, the original one, is on my top 10 list of best movies of all time. Um,
Mm,
because that was just that was quite revolutionary in that era. And when I saw it the first time when I was a young kid, like that just really played a big influence in me as an actor as well. That West Side Story, because it was all I the it was singing and dancing, and even the fight scenes were like was a dance, and then, oh my god, that was like, it was like outside the box. um yeah, and that's why, when Spielberg um decided to direct that film, because that film also was influential for him as a filmmaker. And so it yeah, that West Side Story. And so when I saw West Side Story, Spielberg directed in 2021, I also loved that film as well.
okay, what year was that remake actually made?
In 2021.
Oh, 2021. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the middle of COVID. Yeah, I remember like watching that, like, just after we came out of lockdown. and then yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. But what about the original one? Was that the one? The original one was the
Yeah,
one
the
you saw,
original one was in 1967, I think, was the original one.
and you watched that as a little kid. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's
yeah,
interesting though. Yeah, I wanna see it to believe it now. So the West Side Story, and I might actually see if it's actually on Netflix.
yeah,
See if it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
good
No,
enough.
it's on Stan.
Oh, Stan.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
The original one is on Stan, I think, and the Spielberg remake is on Disney.
Disney Plus. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah,
Oh wow, I didn't even know. But good on him. Because he's done so many notable films, like Jurassic Park, the first one.
yeah.
Did he direct
Um,
the second one, Lost World, or
no,
not?
no,
No, he didn't.
only the first one, and on the same year he directed Schindler's List, and that also it is like one of the most magnificent films ever.
Yeah, Schindler's. Actually, I can't believe that I actually forgot that it was him who directed that. But I remember
Yeah.
when I first watched that at 1997, I was like 13 years old, and it's nighttime, right? I'm trying to fall asleep, and I saw those
Mm,
horrific scenes. I had trouble
mm,
falling asleep. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's in
So
black and white.
imagine directing Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year. Like so that was what a talented director.
Yeah, it's the
and
the drive
and
that he has.
two totally different films. Two
I
totally
know.
different films. Yeah.
Yeah, one's like kind of like an adventure horror, and the other one's actually drama. But Schindler's List, like I didn't recognize it until like when I watched the second or third time during this mid 2000s that it was actually all in black and white. I forgot it was
Mm.
actually in black and white, and then there was only just that one scene, that
That
little girl with the
like
red,
what in the red. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the red collar,
Mm.
yeah. So like Little
Yeah.
Red Riding Hood. So yeah,
Yeah.
I watched
Mm.
that again actually. So yeah, because
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's best work in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Mm.
that's what made him even more famous.
Mm.
Before it became the action movie, like
Yeah,
rescuing dad.
yeah, yeah.
The
After
strange husband.
yeah, he's been pigeonholed into Taken.
That's right. Yeah, like he's always that rogue guy. Like he's an agent who's been betrayed, or he's been framed, or somebody who's just gone rogue. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it still gets him work. You know what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like Keanu Reeves and John Wick, or Schwarzenegger as Terminator. Like he got that trademark now.
That's right. Because see, Arnie, no matter what role he plays, I agree with my mum about this, but he's always the robot to me, no matter what role he
Yeah, yeah, he will
plays.
always be the Terminator.
That's right. Even though he's not playing that, even in Jingle All the Way, he's that,
Yeah.
Terminator dad. He's like, "Where's my?
Mm.
I want that done." I remember in Twins, I want my baby. It's like actually that's Junior, isn't it? That Junior when he becomes
Yeah,
pregnant. Yeah,
yeah.
he's like, "I
Yeah.
want my baby."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we could talk
Uh,
about this all along, and then all of a sudden you have to go to Perisher right now. So yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah. So look, we're about to conclude in a second. So just stay online just for a couple of minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So cool. Thank you so much for tuning in, and appreciate you having on board, buddy. Like being a guest in this podcast.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Cool, cool. If you haven't done so yet, please press the like and subscribe buttons in the description box below. And doing so, it's also going to encourage me to do more videos like this and bring special guests like Rudi, who are dedicated actors and good people. Until the next video, thanks for tuning in. This is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and this is Rudi Yap. Adios.